the fight started so fast that no one had time to scream. 1 minute the women in cell block C were sitting quietly in the common room, and the next, fists were flying, chairs were crashing, and 2 inmates were locked in a violent struggle that looked nothing like the harmless scuffles people see on TV. This was raw, desperate, and terrifying. But the worst part wasn't the fight itself. It was the guard who stood only a few feet away, watching with cold, blank eyes, refusing to step in. That was the moment every woman in that room realized the truth. Crestwood Women's Correctional Center played by its own rules, and the people in charge weren't always the ones wearing uniforms. Before this chaos, before the screaming and the fear, there was Emily Carter. She was 26, soft-spoken, and serving a short sentence for credit card fraud. Emily wasn't a violent person. She wasn't a troublemaker. She thought prison would be strict, lonely, and boring, but she believed she could survive it. What she didn't know was that the real danger didn't come from the inmates. It came from the guards, the politics, and the hidden power struggles that no documentary ever tells the truth about. From the moment she stepped inside, Emily felt the atmosphere shift. The walls felt too close. The air felt too heavy. And the women in intake whispered warnings she didn't yet understand. One older inmate leaned close and said quietly, "Watch the officers more than the inmates. That's your real safety tip." Emily didn't know how serious that advice was until later. Her first roommate, Dana, was quiet and kept to herself. She followed every rule and avoided every argument. On Emily's first night, she learned why. Just after midnight, Emily woke up to footsteps in the hallway. Dana immediately whispered for her to stay still and pretend to sleep. A guard was doing checks, but Emily could hear that she wasn't checking every cell. She was stopping only at certain doors, whispering to certain inmates, and skipping others. Emily didn't understand the pattern, but something about it felt wrong. Days passed, and Emily tried her best to stay invisible. She went to classes, followed schedules, and ate the bland food everyone complained about. But one day during lunch, she noticed a small group of inmates eating something completely different from everyone else. Fresh fruit, real chicken, soft bread. Dana leaned in and whispered, "Those are Monroe's favorites. They get what they want." Emily looked toward Officer Monroe, the same guard from the night checks, and felt a small chill run through her. Things only grew stranger. Certain inmates got new shoes, hair supplies, and snacks that no store inside the prison sold. Some inmates were allowed out of their cells after hours. Others were punished for tiny mistakes. Emily started to see a pattern. The women Monroe favored could do anything. The ones she didn't could lose visitation, jobs, or privileges for no reason at all. Late one afternoon, Emily found a younger inmate named Tessa crying in the laundry room. When she asked what happened, Tessa said Officer Monroe had taken away her visitation rights because she refused to cooperate. She wouldn't say anything more, but the fear in her voice said enough. The tension inside Crestwood grew thicker every day. Then things escalated when an outspoken inmate named Natalie confronted Monroe in the hallway. Natalie accused her of running her own, private system inside the prison, choosing who got punished and who got rewarded. Monroe stared her down and told her she was making a very big mistake. Emily didn't sleep that night, replaying their argument in her head. The next morning, everything felt different. Natalie looked determined, but the guards seemed tense. Emily noticed Monroe watching Natalie more closely than ever. Everyone sensed something was coming, and they were right. During recreation time, Natalie confronted Officer Monroe again, this time in front of nearly the entire block. Voices rose. Words became threats. And just when it looked like they might back down, 2 inmates loyal to Monroe jumped in. The argument exploded into a violent fight so fast that no one reacted in time. Chairs slammed into the floor. A metal tray clattered across the concrete. Women screamed for help. But the guards didn't step in. They stood back and watched. Emily froze. She had never seen a fight like this, a fight allowed to happen. She saw Monroe's expression, calm, calculating, in control of every second of it. It wasn't just a fight. It was a message. A warning to anyone else who thought of challenging her authority. As the chaos grew, Emily realized she was trapped in a place where the real danger didn't come from the inmates. It came from the very people meant to keep everyone safe. And as the screams echoed through the block, Monroe finally took one slow step forward, a small, unsettling smile on her face. Whatever happened next would change everything. The moment Officer Ramirez stepped into the hallway, the air seemed to thicken. Emily froze in place, her chest tightening as she felt every eye turn toward the officer. The other inmates shifted nervously, their whispers dying instantly under the weight of Ramirez's gaze. Each step the officer took echoed sharply against the walls, making the corridor feel longer, darker, and more tense. Ramirez's eyes scanned the scene deliberately, taking in every movement, every expression, every small gesture. She wasn't there to punish, she was there to understand. Finally, her attention landed squarely on Emily. The girl's heart pounded as if it might burst through her chest. Ramirez's voice cut through the silence with a calm authority. "Step forward." Emily did, trying to steady her breathing, aware that everyone was watching. The hall felt impossibly long as she walked toward the officer. Ramirez stopped a few feet away and studied her carefully, her expression unreadable. "Explain what's happening here," she said. Her tone was firm but not harsh, demanding honesty without raising her voice. Emily swallowed hard. "Ma'am, it was just a misunderstanding," she said softly, hoping the words were enough. Behind Emily, the other women fidgeted, some stealing quick glances, others avoiding eye contact completely. Their collective tension pressed down on her, as if the air itself were thick with anticipation. Ramirez raised a hand, signaling for calm. "Everyone return to your areas," she ordered. Her voice carried authority that brooked no argument. Slowly, the inmates obeyed, scattering down the hallway, leaving Emily standing alone in the center, acutely aware of every heartbeat, every shadow, every sound. Once the corridor had emptied, Ramirez motioned for Emily to follow her. The girl's steps were hesitant at first, then steadied as she walked behind the officer. They moved through the prison halls, passing the flickering fluorescent lights that cast long, jagged shadows across the walls. Each step brought Emily closer to an unknown outcome, each echo of their shoes a reminder of how fragile her position was. Every corner, every turn, seemed heavier than it had before, the tension from the hallway following her like a lingering shadow. They reached a small office tucked away near the center of the unit. Ramirez closed the door behind them, and the room's dim lighting seemed calmer, but the weight of expectation remained. "I've been watching you," Ramirez began, her voice softer now. "You try to stay out of trouble even when trouble finds you. That matters here." Emily felt a flicker of hope. "I want to do better," she said. "I want to take the classes. I want a chance." Ramirez paused, studying her. Finally, she handed Emily a small slip of paper. "Orientation is tomorrow morning. Be ready." Emily left the office with a cautious sense of optimism. As she entered the common room, the other inmates were already observing her with curiosity and suspicion. Some whispered to one another, trying to guess what had been said, others simply stared, their expressions unreadable. The tension lingered, and Emily knew that despite the officer's words, the hallway had not forgotten, and neither had the women. Each glance reminded her that trust was fragile here, and one wrong move could undo all progress. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that she had earned this opportunity. The next morning, she arrived early at the education building, her hands clutching the orientation paper like a lifeline. The program coordinator greeted her with a nod, and for the first time, Emily felt a sense of purpose she hadn't known in months. Each step into the classroom felt like a step away from the walls that had confined her, and toward a future she had once thought impossible. Yet, just as she began to feel a moment of relief, the alarm blared. Its sharp, urgent sound echoed through the facility, startling everyone. Officers rushed past her, moving with precision and purpose, their expressions tense. Emily froze, her mind racing. Something unexpected was happening. The calm she had just begun to feel vanished instantly. The other inmates scrambled, whispers turning into hurried movements, and the orderly routine of the prison fractured in an instant. Emily's heart pounded as she realized that this day would not be simple. What had started as a quiet chance for change had now become another test, one she couldn't predict, one she couldn't prepare for. Every sense was heightened, every sound amplified, every shadow a possible threat. But deep down, she also felt a spark of determination. She had come this far, and she would not let fear define her. The alarm rang out again, louder this time, and Emily knew that whatever happened next, it would challenge her more than anything before, and perhaps, it would also reveal the strength she had been searching for all along.